Let's get back to your story a little bit because you biohacked yourself into health. And now you're a healthy being. And like so many patients I know that have regained their health, you almost paid it forward. You kept going. Your story almost started at the point of regaining your health, and you kept going into creating the Health Optimization Summit, creating these meetups. Can you go into that and where that story started there and kind of led into this large meeting now that is a yearly, annually kind of thing that so many people come to, and is the largest in Europe, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, first of all, I'm not completely healthy, or should I say, I am healthy, but I do have some things I'm working on.
We're
Um,
always healing, right? Always.
and yes, there are some things, and it's not me striving for perfection, although I do. Um, yeah, there are some things I'm working on. But yeah, I think when I got into biohacking, or should I say, before I realized what biohacking was, I was doing a lot of these things. I was testing out different supplements. I was tracking a load of stuff. And a colleague told me about bulletproof coffee. And, I didn't really understand ketogenic. I didn't understand high fat. All I saw was a puddle of oil, butter sitting on the top of a coffee because he didn't know how to make it. But, he was into modafinil and all these things. And I realized that there was something like biohacking, and that there was a load of crazy people out there like me. Although earlier days, Bulletproof was more aimed at high performance, business execs and things. But obviously, Dave Asprey coming from sickness himself, and that's where the original spin on the whole biohacking thing came from. So it kind of evolved, and now it's wider. It's for high performance athletes. It's for everyone, including people with chronic health issues. And Dave's very vocal about all of those. So for me, once I heard about Bulletproof, I started listening to Dave's podcast a lot. I listened to every word of just about every one of them for a very long time. But I'd been reading Dr. Makoda's emails, since 2010, something like that, maybe a bit before. So I learned quite a few things along the way. I reversed my mum's osteopenia from learning from Dr. Makoda and being able to research some of those things. And then I'd listened to so many episodes of Bulletproof. And then one day Dave talked about hyperbaric oxygen therapy. And it was just a 30-second, you got to try this type thing. So I Googled hyperbaric oxygen therapy. I searched across the UK for a clinic. There was one, other than a medical hospital that you couldn't get into. I went and tried it out. And then halfway through the session, I felt different. I felt alert. I felt alive. I knew that there was something in it. And then that night, I had the best night's sleep I had done for ages. It was like my body went into parasympathetic mode, finally. So I did that several times a week. It was very expensive, like $180 an hour minimum. And it was taking me 2 hours to get there, 2 hours back with 2 hours in the middle. So it was, running a couple of companies by that point, I didn't have the time. So I decided to open a clinic up in central London. I built it over the space of a month, hired the PhD, to run the clinic for me, and I now built processes, and so it's self-running. I was in the clinic pretty much every other day. Now, that is really got me on the map because I got to meet quite a few people on Instagram because I was this hyperbaric guy. I got a few influencers and health people through the clinic. I got to meet the Bulletproof guys that were in the UK at the time, and also did the Tony Robbins event for Bulletproof. And as a thank you, they gave me a ticket to the Bulletproof conference in Pasadena in 2017. And when I got there, I was just like, holy crap, there's a whole community of people out there. I didn't realize how freaking huge it was. And then, and I just loved it. And I went with my big brother, who's, he's a muggle in this respect. He doesn't really, didn't really believe in it that much, but he had a great time, picked up a few things. When we came back, it was like an anticlimax. There was like 3 or 4 of us in the UK, no scene, no movement. So I decided to start up a meetup group called the Biohacker London Meetup Group, thinking I'd have 4 or 5 friends join it, and we'd have a little meetup once a month. And it grew to 400, 500, 600 people very quickly. And then one day I said to my mum, I've got this whole group of 600 biohackers, and she said, "What's a biohacker?" It's a bit of a weird word. And I said, well, it's kind of like people that use data and science and technology to optimize their health. She said, hey, you should think about that. Now, being a marketer and, having 20 years in psychology and digital marketing behind me, I kind of like listen to every conversation I had and would make a note of the different keywords that people would mention. Health and optimization came up so many times, but no one had connected the two, or so I had thought. And then one day I said to my very dear friend, Dr. Scott Scher, who I met through Dom D'Agostino and the Hyperbaric conference over in Denver a few years back. I said, I'm going to do the Health Optimization and Biohacker London. He said, oh, Dr. Ted Akihoso and I are running Health Optimization Medicine. He said, that's a coincidence. And so I was like, there's something in it. So we changed the label of the meetup group to be Biohacker and Health Optimization London. And it, kind of doubled, tripled, quadrupled very, very, very quickly, because it brought in the mindset of Biohacker, but not with the label. So I knew that we were onto something. And then I decided to do a conference and reached out to Dave and Martin Tobias, who used to run the labs for Dave, and also PaleoFX, who are amazing guys. And I knew that if I had the Titans on my side, I would have strategic support to be able to conquer England, which we did. And then year one of the summit had 1,200 people nearly, 40 speakers, 50 exhibitors. And, I was told that we were more like a year 3 or 4 in year one. And it was a very smooth event. So after which Dave invested. He's now a major stakeholder in it for me. So I run, run the UK part. So it's been a really fun journey. And now, as a result, I'm working on a book, also working on a digital course at the moment, and also the summit. So it's been a very interesting and fun ride for me.